what got me started in music, among other things, was the fact that my dad was a jazz musician, a drummer, back in the 40s and 50s. And although he didn't do that as a profession, ultimately, he always had that influence, and his record collection was all the great old jazz stuff. At the same time, my mom loved classical music and listened to a lot of music as I was growing up, and encouraged me to study something. I think she picked the cello because she liked the cello, and I said, okay. I didn't know at the time what a cello was when I was 7 or something, but she said, hey, you're playing the cello. And I said, all right, cool. Is it a little bit like a guitar, it looks like? And she said, yeah, a little bit. And I said, all right, great. Again, a lot of my musical influence came from non-classical sources. Some of my earliest exposure to any kind of music was my older brother's record collections, which included a lot of Beatles, and of course, like a lot of people, my favorite Beatle was George Martin, who was actually their arranger and orchestrator, and who added a very complex classical component to what the Beatles did. So that itself was very influential. It would have to be a couple of years ago. I'm a composer too of some small note, and a couple of years ago I got to write a duo cello piece, which a friend of mine, who's the principal cellist of Toronto Symphony, Joe Johnson, played with Yo-Yo Ma. The two of them played that up there. The following year, Yo-Yo came here, and through a lot of finagling, I arranged to be able to play that same piece with him on stage as an encore to his performance of the Elgar Concerto. He came out and he called me over, and we played my piece. I got to play something I wrote with Yo-Yo on stage in front of 2,000 crazily screaming people. So seeing that he's the role model for almost every living professional cellist, getting to perform with him, that must be my top thing. And I sometimes wonder if I shouldn't have just quit altogether right after that, because what am I going to do that's going to top that, right? Being married to a musician, especially a musician in the same, not only in the same field, but in the same actual job, is very interesting, and I would say 99% of that is positive, because musicians have weird schedules. So the fact that we have the same schedule is a huge advantage to our life partnership, for sure. And you also have to have a fanatical devotion to your art, to your profession as a musician, especially as a classical musician. And this is something that a lot of non-musicians don't really understand. They may sort of think, well, I know he's got to practice, or I know he has to do this job, but why isn't he paying more attention to me, or something like this? I imagine that is some source of friction for some couples that are one in an orchestra and one outside an orchestra or other similar kind of profession. So having that being the same, we're understanding each other's motivations job-wise and art-wise. So that's not a source of friction at all. And again, we are collaborating on other projects, not orchestra, like Alias. Zeniba is the artistic director and founder, the real founder, and to this day still the prime source of energy that goes into that group and sustains it and keeps us doing really great things. Collaborating with this is creating these recordings that we've done and these concert programs and these other events. These are kind of our progeny, our children. We don't have kids, but these are what we've put our energies and efforts into.